All eyes now turn to the Gold Cup, one of the highlights of the Cheltenham Festival, but one that can prove to be a bit of a kettle of worms betting-wise. Luke, who have you gone for in this one?
Yeah, obviously it looks a brilliant race on paper. Alvin Forster, the winner last year, returns. Mullins camp are keen on him. You've got Delta Work, who's got great form from Ireland. Clanders of All won the King George, but I'm going to stick with what I thought all along, Lost in Translation. Thought he was brilliant in the Betfair Chase. I've seen him win up at Carlisle. Disappointing last time in the King George, but I never thought that would be a race he would enjoy, probably a bit too quick. But the Gold Cup I think is made for him, only beaten by Deffy in the JLT last year. He finished behind him and beat him a few times last season. But he's run well at Cheltenham. He jumped in front at the last in that JLT last year, so I think he'll be good. As long as they've got him back after that disappointment, which they say they have, the Tizard team. He's got a brilliant engine, he jumps brilliantly, so I'm going to stick with him, and he's probably drifted a little bit now, so all the more better if he wins.
Tips to Tom, can you find us a winner in the Gold Cup?
Well, at Christmas at Kempton, I was convinced that Lost in Translation was going to go on to be the Gold Cup winning horse and he was going to take in the King George on his way. Obviously, I was very wrong about that, and I feel that my support for Clan des Obeaux here is perhaps in some way related to writing him off at Christmas. Now, obviously, the major thing which people are going to use to cramp his form is that he was beaten in this last year. He was beaten 11 lengths in 5th. I re-watched the race while I was looking at the form for this because I wanted to see if he backed out of it totally. I couldn't quite remember. He just kind of like stays on one pace. He doesn't completely fade out of it. And obviously he's another year older, another year better. I think the form of his King George win this year far surpasses what he did the year before. You know, beating Thistlecrack by 1 length compared to beating Sonambe 21 with Lost in Translation, ran off his feet, basically. I think that Clan des Obeaux is, again, being perhaps overlooked in the markets. I'd have him shorter. And again, you're just going to have to take it on trust that he does want 3 mile 2 around Cheltenham, but Paul Nicholls, outstanding record in the race. I will take his word for it that Clan des Obeaux is ready for it this season. And if he is, I think he'll make the frame and might even win the whole thing.
Well, have we got anything anywhere else, gents, on the last day?
I just got one in the Fox Hunters, a horse that I've got a share in called Alcala, runs in that. He had to qualify fairly late on the last day of qualifying. He came second at Fontwell to just get in. He's been to Cheltenham before, hasn't really got up the hill, but this is a whole different sphere in hunter chases. He's a much better horse than some of them and won't carry as much weight as some of them, so he'd have a chance if he can just, probably doesn't want the trip. I prefer to see him in the Aintree Fox Hunters, but he goes there with a chance and we'll see what happens. Angus Chalida, the young jockey's going to ride him. He was with the Tizard, does a lot of point-to-point and now gets on well with him and has schooled him and stuff at home, and the reports seem to be good, so he goes there with a fighting chance, around about 14-1.
Excellent. So hopefully we've hunted a winner in the Fox Hunters. Hopefully it will be a great day's racing as well. We'll see you back here for Aintree.